Hello everyone, we are back with a fun-filled video of stories, techniques, and more. We are going to start this video out with a bang. This is one of those broken trays, and I do apologize that this is not completely in frame. But anyways, this is one of those trays, it's a lap tray, and it has the legs on it. Well, it was broken, and I just kept the top part of it, and I thought I'm going to do something with this. So I decided to make it into a piece of wall art. We're using this beautiful decoupage paper that I got from Zazzle. This is called the Silver Ship. It's originally it is a public domain photo, so anyone can use it, but someone has used it and put it on decoupage paper. So the thing is, right now I'm just putting this down with some decoupage medium from COUTURE. You can find all the products that I mention at Aunt Bee's Attic or on Amazon in my links in the description box below. Right now you can see I did have a tear there. We're going to fix that. You all do not worry about imperfections when you do decoupage with napkins, papers. Do not worry. I'm going to show you how we fix those. So anyways, this lady is, we don't know who she is, okay? She could have been a beggar off the street. I highly doubt it. She's too beautiful for that. She looks like a vixen or a goddess. But this is a painting by Sir James Jabusa Shannon. He lived from 1862 to 1923, and he painted this originally on oil canvas. The last information I could find about the original oil painting, it was sold at Christie's for around $33,000. And that was 20 years ago, so I can't imagine what it's worth now. I'm sure it's in some private collector's home. So that's all we know about this redheaded vixen holding this beautiful silver ship. But I thought that her and the next vixen, which is going to be a Notorious vixen, going to be coming up, I thought they went very well together because she's holding this ship and the next vixen wore a ship on her head. All right, so let's get back into this DIY. Once we get her down, and like I said, there is going to be a few little places that I'm going to have to fix. We're putting her on this white background with this light colored wood, so she does not blend in at all. What we have to think about is, how are we going to make her blend in? And what I'm going to be using is, I'm going to be using Fusion's new color of cast iron. I love this color, you all. It is not a gray, but it's not a black. It's more on the warm side. I really was hoping it would be even warmer, like a black brown, but the color works perfect with this, and we're going to add some salt wash to that. That's how we're going to get her blended in. So I'm just going to start out without putting any salt wash in it and putting a small thin coat just all the way around this, and then I decide I'm going to go ahead and add that salt wash in. Now with salt wash, you can't follow the directions on the bottle or the tub that it comes in, but I really mixed mine very, very thick. In other words, it was almost crumbling, but it still had a good liquid base to make it stick. When adding the salt wash on, I realized I didn't have the camera turned on, so you'll see I have some already on there. Now the way that I added this was just using a short-handled paintbrush, and I'm just stippling it on. In other words, dipping my brush in that mixture and then pouncing it on. Now I did cover up that tear with some salt wash, but I also go around to different areas of the portrait and add some more of the salt wash mixture, so it's not like there's just a random piece or place covering that tear that I have, but also that it's on the portrait itself, so it's meant to be like it's mixed in on her. And I do that even if I don't tear, because the salt wash, I don't want it just all around the edges to cover those edges up. And you can also tear these decoupage papers, but I didn't do that. So really, it really is just whatever look you're going for. The next step we're going to do is we're going to be adding some of these Finnabair Art Alchemy waxes. I've used these quite often in my videos. You can find these on Amazon. I'll also have those linked in the description box below. I've had these forever. They last for years. I just make sure if mine's trying to seem like it's drying up that I'll go ahead and put some saran wrap over the top and then screw the lid on. It does help the moisture stay in them. They do come in tubes now, so the link will be for tubes. So I'm just going around adding this antiquing wax to give it a little bit of that copper out of her hair color look. But I do go back in later and add some more colors, including the fire I think it's fire red of this, to pull out the color of her hair. To bring in some of this coppery look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my paint, some of my acrylic paint that is metallic, and I have this sort of a brown color of metallic. I'm not sure the name. I'll have that link below. And I go around and I stipple some of that on top of the salt wash mixture that I made. Once I get this finished, I'm going to go ahead and put a clear coat over all of this. And I'm going to add some metal, what's called metal book corners, just to give this more of a higher end look and more of a finished, like a wall art look. So I have these gold corners and I'm painting them that same color that I added into the photo for that kind of coppery look. Once I let these dry, I will just add these with some hot glue to the corners. Now I don't show it here, but you will see it on the next piece of art that we upcycle. And remember, all of the photos will be at the end of this video. Okay, this next project is definitely a notorious woman is what I'm calling her. We're going to be using these same techniques related to decoupaging her and putting salt wash around her with the same color of paint. Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette became the Queen of France at the age of 18. Now, she's notorious for many things. She's also well known and famous for many things. She was very fashion forward. She was known for her haute couture, a genuine love of fashion and art. She was loved, she was hated, she was beheaded. Many things have been said about her, whether or not they're true or untrue. They are documented as part of history. She was promiscuous, supposedly had illegitimate children with other men, supposedly had a lover live with her in a apartment above her apartment in her peasant village called Petit Trianon Palace. That is definitely a place I would love to visit someday just because it looks very beautiful. She was also known for her crazy wigs that she wore. She wore this one with a ship on top of it to celebrate the French naval success. She's also famous for the affair of the diamond necklace. You should read about that story. All I know is today, in this day and time, it was a necklace that was worth $100 million and took a long time to make. She didn't want to pay for it. She was thought of as the scapegoat for France's money problems. They did not want to blame their king, so she was the blame for her spending habits. I'm sure she did not help. However, there were wars, there were lots of things going on during that time that money was going towards, not just her love of art and fashion. Fast forward to the French Revolution, the palace was actually attacked and they did escape, I think, at some point. However, they ended up getting her, they beheaded her. Her children lived horrible lives after that. She had several children, or they had several children. Reading about what happened to them after their mother was beheaded was just very devastating. I couldn't imagine that they had to pay for their parents' sins. So she is definitely one of the reasons that I'm doing the box coming up in this video with a ship on the front of it. I've always been inspired by her love of art and her love of fashion, regardless of the type of person she was. Although she was known to be very tender-hearted and giving, she did not say the famous "let them eat cake when people were hungry." You can read up about that too. Now let's get back into this. I started working on this with some waxes. Now I just pulled out several and I'm going to mix them together until I get them blended on how I want them to look. I'm using some blues and that antique bronze again with, I think, some of the silver. Again, I'll have these linked in the description box below. Don't forget they come in tubes now instead of these little pots. I've had these for about 3 years. They have lasted forever, so you definitely get your money's worth. Once I get this the way I want it to look, I'm going to go ahead and seal the whole piece with some of that Rust-Oleum. I think it's the Rust-Oleum. I'm not sure if it's the Rust-Oleum brand, but it's the polyacrylic clear coat that is in gloss because that's what I have an abundance of from that project we worked on, so I'm trying to use all that up. I like the satin better. And I do go ahead and do this on the sides of each project as well. Now that this is all sealed up and ready to go, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing that we did to the other corners with some silver corners. I'm going to use some of my metallic, I think this is like a dark gray color. I'll try to have these linked in the description box below too, but they are the metallic paints that I have, so I'm just using what I have. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint these, let them dry, and then we're going to put them on with some hot glue. I do go back in and add all these waxes on top of both of these paintings, not the blue on the Copper Girl, but I don't know what happened to the footage, so you will see that at the end of the video in the photos that there are blue and copper colors of the waxes throughout on top of the salt wash. So I am sorry about that. All right, so this next project is we're gonna turn this into a cloche. I got 2 of these industrial looking lanterns and they just aren't my style, although I love the cages. So I thought we would turn these into a cool looking cloche to go with our ladies. I could have taken the screws out and done all that, but I decided I was just going to clip these metal tabs and pop this whole candle out that way because you're not going to be able to see any of this once I get done with it, and it really doesn't matter. Once we get that candle out, we are going to take all the twine off of it and strip it down, and we're going to end up taking the handle off and even the circles a little bit later. I'm starting out with a color that is, this is a apple barrel paint. I think it's spiced rum, maybe. It looks like a beautiful rust color or a orangey terracotta. I can't even speak. So I'm just going to go ahead and just dab this all over this, and then I'm going to go back in with some of that chocolate looking coppery metallic paint and some of the gunmetal metallic paint. Now, a lot of the orangey color gets covered up, but that's okay because we just want little bits of it peeking through. When I finish with this, I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of, honestly, I don't even know what this is. It's like a base. It almost looks like a flower frog. I just can't see that being a flower frog. I don't know. Anyways, it's a beautiful piece of wood, and I don't really want to cover all the wood up, so I'm just going to use some of this metallic gray looking paint to just put a light hazy coat, and then I'm going to go in with a paper towel and kind of give it a little bit of a texture. We're going to put that to the side, and we're going to work on some metal molding. Now this is metal you can get from the Dollar Tree. I am doing pretty much the same thing that I did to the cage. I'm just going to add these 3 colors and get it the way that I like it. And then we're going to let all of that dry. Now I pre-made some molds because I want to add some molds for trimming on here. See, a lot of that color did get covered up. I did go back in and add a little bit of that rusty look to the edges later on, but you'll see that in the photos. Don't forget, at the end of the video, you'll see the photos of all these. And these molds, I used the 2-step Amazing Cast resin. I'll have that link below in the description box. As it gets, they do stay kind of pliable, and if they don't, you can just heat them up in the microwave with a heat gun, with a hair dryer. So we're just going to clamp these on with some JB Weld and let those dry as well. Now our molds have dried on there, and I went ahead and decided to take those little circles off. I thought about hanging some dangles from them, but I decided against that because I really want to put this crown on here, and I end up using the JB Weld to do that as well. Now don't forget, I do cut out a lot of my video. That is not necessary, but if you have any questions, you can put those in the comments below. Also, I do speed up a lot of my video, and if you want to slow that down, you can do that on YouTube in the settings in the bottom right-hand corner of the video box. Once I clamp this metal on, I am going to let this dry overnight so that it gives the glue plenty of time to set up. And then we're going to go back in with some of that cast iron paint to give these more of a base color, closer to the base color of the lantern. And now we're going to go back in with, or we're not going to go back in, but we're going to add those 2 colors of the metallic to the moldings and the crown. I know we already added some to the crown, but I'm getting a little bit rusty here and a little bit of these metallics going. You'll see it really it pops the colors. And I didn't really realize that until I got it all together. And then I realized, hey, I want more of that coppery color and I want more of that rusty color. So it's okay. You know how I am. I go back in and I add it where I want to and I make it look more like what I want. And there's nothing wrong with that. Process, steps, layers, I love it all. I know sometimes you guys say that your head spins watching or the going back and forth, but you know what? It's my process and I love it and I'm glad that you all enjoy it and you enjoy it enough to comment on it. So thank you very much for that. Now let's add this piece to the bottom. We're going to go ahead and use some more of that JB Weld. We're going to use some hot glue with it so it'll give it a permanent and a temporary hold really quick. This JB Weld, I love this stuff, but it smells and you want to use it in a ventilated area because, you know, you don't want to be smelling those paint or those glue fumes. Now let's get to decorating this cool piece that I've made. All right, so we are going to be putting this cute little lady statue in. I think she's ceramic and I've had her for a while. I always pick up statues pretty much everywhere I go as long as they're not ridiculous. And I want to use this little pot and kind of do that pinky green method on it. I'm not going to add any pink to it because it already is terracotta color. So we're just going to give that as our base color. I'm trying to figure out where I want my lady to land and where I want my pot to land. Now I've got out a lot of my different greens, including mosses, including just bright greens, pale greens, seafoam. I'm just going to play with them all. Y'all do you. I'm going to do this. All right. I'm going to start out with I want a little bit of that hazy white that these terracotta pots get with age. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a little bit of hazy white. I'm going to add my greens. Yeah, I'm getting some salt wash out. I'm going to wipe it on there. I'm going to dip it on there. Y'all just wait. You're going to see. I want to let you know, once I get this done, I do add some greens and a bottle to this, and I don't have it on film, and I am sorry about that. But again, you'll get to see in the pictures. If you have questions, you just let me know below. Alright, so now we're going to add some of this, I think this is reindeer moss, to the pot, and I'm just going to use hot glue to do that. I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on there. I'm going to add the reindeer moss on it. I do this to my little lady statue too, and again, you'll see that in the pictures. I also end up adding some moss to the inside of this, to the outside of this. Once I get done adding this moss and I feel like that my green paint is the color I want it, I am going to add some dark wax to this because if you look at really old aged terracotta pots, they kind of have a brown haze, and I'm not sure if it's just from the soil seeping through or the soil getting on the outside, I don't know, or just the age in itself. But this brown wax or dark wax from DIY really makes a difference. Now we're going to add some elements inside of our cage cloche. I don't know what you want to call it, but we're calling it a cage cloche. I'm going to add this little bird's nest, but it's not quite little enough. So what I'm going to end up doing is taking it back out and just taking some of the outside of it off so that it will fit in there with my little lady. All right, so remember when I said I didn't get all of this filmed? Here is the finished product. You will see photos of this at the end to show you really more of what it looks like. I took a bottle and I added a IOD label on it, and then I distressed it and I put a matte coat over it to make the bottle look aged and grungy. Now I'm just fixing the metal crown on here, and this piece is finished. You'll have to let me know. Oh, it's not finished. I'm adding some gold rub and buff to this, only to the little crown-like thing and the molds that I put on there, so they would pop, the edges of them would pop. We are on our last project. You guys, this box was wrecked. I did pay $1.99 for it, and I did fix it. I don't know what this little box has been through, but it's really, really dirty. And the first thing I'm going to do is sanitize this thing. I sprayed it down and I cleaned it with some Lysol spray. It did not smell, which was wonderful, but it was dirty. It's a sturdy little box. It's made of wood. The drawers almost look handmade. It does not seal perfectly around the drawers. I mean, it doesn't need to seal, but it almost looks handmade, but it's not. I know it's not, so I'm not sure. It's an older piece, I'm assuming. Someone had done this little pink flowery paint job. Well, we are going to add some of that cast iron and then some of the Fusion Midnight Blue. We're going to mix these colors. I really just want a hint of the blue in the cast iron, but we're going to mix these two colors together to give us the beautiful color that's going to go with the ship photo that I'm going to put on this that we're going to print out. We're going to paint the inside. We're going to paint the sides this color that I've mixed up, and we're going to paint the back of this and the front drawers of this the Fusion casement, which is like a white color, so that we can add our papers to that white color. I have printed off some of these vintage ship photos. They were free online, and I just kind of went through and picked out the one that I thought would go well with my other two pieces of art that I've made, and I've landed on this one. Now, I printed this off on tracing paper. I have a whole pad of it that I thrifted. The reason I printed it off on the tracing paper is because it does not give you a smooth look, okay? It gives you a wrinkled vintage look, which you can get with your regular decoupage paper, but the tracing paper doesn't tear. It's very crisp. But if you want a smooth and not wrinkled look, don't print on tracing paper, okay? So that's what I did. I'm using my Paint Couture Decoupage Medium to put this on and to seal it with. I decoupage this on and it's still wet, but I need to cut out. I don't want my drawers to seal, so I'm cutting this while it's wet, and it's kind of tearing the paper, which does not matter. Seriously, it does not matter. If you're making something look old and vintage, don't worry about it. All that can be fixed with paint. So just keep on cutting. Just hold the paper a little bit so it don't drag too much, and make sure you have a sharp blade. Now that we've got that cut, I'm going to go in with the same process. I'm not going to mix the colors. I'm using just the straight cast iron on the front of this because I'm going to use it as an accent color with the mixed color that I made on the sides and the top and the back. I'm going to go ahead and mix my salt wash in so that I've got that harsh edge on my paper blended. Again, you can tear it. You don't have to put the whole squared edge on. It doesn't matter. I was going to be putting this mixture on to give it an aged, crumbly look, so I didn't bother with tearing it. I don't measure my salt wash. You're welcome to do that. There is directions on the salt wash container. I decided that I started using this and decided it was not thick enough for me. I wanted that more texture like I had on the ladies, so I go back in and I just add some more to what I've already have mixed. Once we get this around the front finished, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the sides and the back. I do have a special plan for the back of this since it was missing some of its laminate. But until then, I'm going to take this salt wash, go around the edges, and then I'm going to halo the sides of this. I don't know what else to call it. It's actually called a vignette. There's more than one meaning for the word vignette, but it kind of puts a halo around the photo. I'm doing the same thing on this box. I did it on the last box that I made too. You all have to let me know. Do you like these boxes? I know that this is my third one. I've had a lot of requests for them. People seem to love them. I've had a lot of comments on them, so thank you so much for the feedback. This one will also be for sale in my Etsy shop. It's listed at the beginning of this video. I'm going to make a separate video as well about this one to show you what's inside of this box. Wait till you see it, you all. I'm so in love. So I decided with the back of this box that I wanted to put some of those new papers that I got from Aunt Bee's attic. Again, because it had some laminate wood missing, but it's solid wood underneath of it, and I was not going to strip all the other laminate off, so it really didn't matter because it's an old box and we want it to look aged. So what I did was I chose a I chose a decoupage paper that looked like vintage wood, and this is the one from the new line from Autumn Sage Creations. I'll let you know also that Aunt Bee's Attic has the new line of, or the addition to Roycycle's line, her new release. You all, it's amazing. Papers, go on over there and check it out. Don't forget Aunt Bee's Attic has $9 flat rate shipping on anything you order. It is amazing. The service is amazing. The shipping is super fast. All right, so this paper we're going to be using to put the back on this to make it look like it's got a really aged wood back. Once I get this finished, I'm going to go ahead and let it dry and then sand off all those edges for a smooth finish on the edge. And then again, take that mixture that I just made of the cast iron and the salt wash and just halo this one too. Because this paper is a little bright for my taste and for the box, I'm going to add the Fusion Antique Glaze to make this look more like the sepia tone on the ship photo in the front of the box. You can actually see it right there laying to the left. See the drawer? It's got the top of that ship. It's got a sepia. See the difference? And that antique glaze from Fusion is amazing, and that's going to change this up. All right, we are almost at the end of this video, you all. Now, once we finish this box up, you're going to see all of the photos of the projects that we did today and the vignette of all of them together. I want you to let me know what you think about them in the comments below. I am sorry this video took a while to get out. I struggled, you all. I went back and forth about if I wanted to use these as a video because I do a lot more than what I'm able to show. But I'm so glad I did, and I struggled on doing another box because I want to make sure that this is something that you all enjoy. If you are enjoying these videos, give me some love, like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will have the link to this Lost Captain's chest. Wait till you see what's in it. You guys are going to love this. Check out the Etsy shop for it to be listed, and let's get on into the photos for this video. I love how this broken tray turned into a piece of wall art. I hung one of those little hammer-in hooks or claw teeth, sawtooth hooks on the back of it. I love how this old lantern, well, not old, but modern lantern turned into this kind of old-looking cloche with a lot of stuff going on. I may have put a little bit too much greenery in it, but I still love it the way it turned out. I love Miss Antoinette. Yes, she was definitely notorious. You'll have to let me know, did you like the backstory to this project? Also, what about this ship box? I think it looks like a cool piece that was a captain's box, and we'll have a little story behind that in the video that goes with it. Now, let me know which one was your favorite in this comment section below. Here is the full vignette of all the pieces, and I will see you in the next video.